students and parents ask us, do universities care about entrepreneurship? In the US, at least 60% of Ivy League budget goes to accelerator programs, entrepreneurship programs, or future founder-led programs, which is saying that universities are moving. They're moving towards a direction that they understand the world is changing, they understand that skill sets are changing, and they are adapting. We've seen kids who have okay grades, but have a really unique story, really unique projects get into good universities. If you look back at this student's example, his grades were okay. He was a B student. He got into Boston College with half a scholarship. Boston College is like 6% acceptance rate globally. But what did Boston College see in him? They saw an entrepreneur. They saw someone who thinks differently. So if there's anything I can sort of advise as parents is, don't wait for school to change. Expose your kids to entrepreneurship now. Whether they do an entrepreneurship course, whether they just do a new project on their own at home, expose them to different things so that they can learn. Entrepreneurship is just the vehicle. It's not the end goal. It's an evolutionary thing that moves, right?
Each of us has a different one, right? But for me, the role of parenting is empowerment. So the goal of parenting is to allow this child to sustain themselves independently, whether we're here or not.
School makes you think in a very linear way, but we know that life is very non-linear. Things jump at you from right, left, center. So kids need to be prepared for that. They need to be adaptable, right? I'm going to share a really quick story about one of our students. Her name is Portia Hartono, which kind of relates a little bit to what we're talking about.
Because that's important. I asked them, who did you connect with most today? Who do you spend the most time with? And sometimes it's a teacher, sometimes it's a kid, and sometimes it's expected, sometimes it's unexpected. I asked them something they've learned, because we all pay huge school fees, so you better learn something if you come to school. And the last question is, what inspired you and what do you look forward to for tomorrow?
To be successful in anything, you need two things. The first one is you need to want the will to do it. I want to be successful. I want to do this thing, so it's going to drive me through. So when we start something, we need the will to do, and then what is the other one? We need the skill to do. And so if you want a successful entrepreneur, if that's what we're talking about today, we need them to want to be entrepreneur, and we want them to have the skill to be entrepreneur. Which one is more important? Yes, of course. This one is the one we want to activate. Because where is this? Excuse me? Everybody has it. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Every skill is somewhere. Or it could be found in a mentor, it could be found somewhere. Skills are easy. What's difficult is this thing. So what we don't want to do is to do the same as I'm also a lawyer, by the way, so same problem. So what we don't want to do is that entrepreneur become the next lawyer. You can be a lawyer, my son, you can be a doctor or an entrepreneur now. So if we do that, the problem with that, I'm a lawyer, so I also have Chinese parents, and the problem with that is there's no will. If the parents say, you become a lawyer, okay, I can do that, we can do that. So we get the skill, but we never have the will, or I didn't. So when I became a lawyer, I said, oh my God, what do I do here? You know, so then I had some strength to get out of it. But so it's, you want to develop the will. If they have the will to be an entrepreneur, don't worry about this thing. I don't think Elon Musk's mom told him how to do it. He could figure it out himself once he wants. Then he figure out. So we need to develop this will, and this is the techniques of parenting. It's the same at leadership. We need to develop people's will to do something, and then they find the strength or they come to you to ask you.
Hiring, sourcing good talent. Let's take a minute to think about why. Is it because we're teaching too many hard skills and not enough soft skills? Presentation skills. Most kids, not confident presenting their ideas in a public setting.
And when Debbie's introducing me, she then add, I'm also a big fan of Ascend Now because of the gift that they've given my two kids. So yes, Christine and Ryan, they both participated in Ascend Now's Shark Tank program. I think at that time they were 11 years old and 9 years old when they did it. As a lawyer, I incorporated many companies for clients, for bosses, but never for myself. In comparison, my son did it at 11. Well, he didn't do it. They did a pitch to be able to do it at 11 and 9. And why were they able to do it? It was because we had help. Because of Ascend Now, who gave them the tools, the structure on how, if you want to be an entrepreneur, this is how you do it. This is the roadmap. Alice talked about independence. Why would you have this independence? You only have this independence and belief in yourself and that you can make a change if you have self-belief. If you are always told you have to be either doctor, lawyer, you won't have this self-belief. So Ascend Now gave my children the self-belief that actually you can, you want to be a contractor, which is the project that one of my sons did. You want to be a florist, this is the other project that my son, another son. These are the tools. This is how you can go about having this business.
I want to share a quick story that one of her sons taught me. He was, I think, 10 years old at the time. His name was Ryan. He started a company called Handyman to make it easier for us to call people to fix our aircon, to fix things at home. 10 years old. And when I knew the entrepreneurship mindset was instilled in him, it was maybe 6-7 months after we were working with him. He said to me, and I remember because I had a class with him that day, and for some reason I had a very bad day. Sometimes you just have a bad day. Something breaks, clumsy, all of the issues happen, right? And I remember Ryan said to me something very specific, and he said, Miss Davy, every obstacle is an opportunity to think differently. And I needed to hear that so badly that day. And I remember being like, wow, this is a 10-year-old kid giving me so much wisdom, and he has achieved that mindset, And so I'm curious, like from a parent perspective, right? We view our kids as whole, right? We have this fundamental belief that we want them to fulfill their potential. And we also have sometimes that insecurity that they won't fulfill their potential. And how do we kind of balance those two? And how do we give them that independence, that room for thought? How important is that, in grooming your children?